The testimony I'd like to present on behalf of the city are the following 20 items. Number one, Lakeside Crossing. It's a subdivision which was originally platted by Clay County, and the developer, who owned all of the land at issue at the time, entered into an agreement with the city of Smithville to provide sewer service to the subdivision at greater than the cost charged to city residents. This agreement was dated November 1st, 1996, and was recorded in the Clay County Recorder of Deeds office on October 22nd, 1997 at book 2740, page 327. That development agreement provided in part that when Smithville grew to the point that it was contiguous to the subdivision, that the owners of the land would apply to be voluntarily annexed into the city. The agreement specifically provided at paragraph 3 that, quote, the city and property owners further agree that upon the request of the city, and provided that the property of the property owners above mentioned is contiguous to the city, the property owner shall take all necessary measures to voluntary annex all property above mentioned into the city of Smithville. I don't know what, we've got a reverb going on, I apologize. Since November 1st of 1996, all of the lots of Lakeside Crossing subdivision have changed hands from the developer to builders and to the, sure. I'll move to this one. Sorry. They have all changed hands from the developer to the builders to the ultimate buyers and or their assigns. Each of the current owners of the lots in this subdivision acquired their ownership after November 1st, 1996. The city is now contiguous with all the lots in the subdivision. By the spring of 2020, a substantial majority of lot owners of the subdivision had applied for and had been annexed into the city. However, 11 lots had not. One of these lots annexed in August, 3 more in December. 1 more has now made application to be voluntary annexed into the city at the next meeting of the board. And 1 additional filed such application this morning or earlier today. So 5 lots remain in the subdivision, but not inside the city limits. The length of the contiguous boundary common to the city's existing limit is at least 15% of the length of the perimeter of each of these following lots proposed for annexation and that currently remain outside the city limits. Those lots are Lot 4, Lakeside Crossing, first plat, Clay County, Missouri, at 15719 North Chestnut, Smithville, Missouri, 64089, owned by Gary and Lisa Duddy. Lot 8, Lakeside Crossing, first plat, Clay County, Missouri, also known as 2413 Northeast 157th Terrace, Smithville, Missouri, 64089, owned by Angela Covey. Lot 12, Lakeside Crossing, first plat, Clay County, Missouri, also known as 2417 Northeast 157th Terrace, Smithville, Missouri, 64089, owned by Alan and Nicole Bibler. Lot 24, Lakeside Crossing, first plat, Clay County, Missouri, also known as 15705 North Wabash Street, Smithville, Missouri, 64089, owned by Ronald D. Walker and Pamela G. Faulkner. This is the property that the application was submitted earlier today by Ms. Faulkner. Once the couple of issues on that application are resolved, it will be set for hearing as well under the voluntary application. Lot 34, Lakeside Crossing, first plat, Clay County, Missouri, also known as 2224 Northeast 158th Street, Smithville, Missouri, 64089, owned by Russell and Betty Woolhams. Lot 36, Lakeside Crossing, first plat, Clay County, Missouri, also known as 2402 Northeast 158th Street, Smithville, Missouri, 64089, owned by Kevin and Regina O'Brien Trust. The city is providing police service to most of the lots in the subdivision, and absent checking a plat map, the city's police officers have no way of knowing when one neighbor is in the city and the other is not. also those neighbors and properties set forth above, not in the city, have the benefit of the services paid for by city residents, excuse me. The city's ordinance apply to most of the lots in Lakeside Crossing subdivision, but not all. The city is charging 2 different sewer rates to lots within the same subdivision. Last year, the city sent each of the current owners of the lots in the subdivision, not within the city, a letter outlining the history and previous agreements and asking that they apply to be voluntarily annexed pursuant to section 71.012 of the revised statutes of Missouri. 6 have asked to be annexed. 5 have already been published, and 1 is the one received today. While others have refused to respond to those letters, other than the folks that are here today, we've had no other contact with the remaining owners to the city's request that they be voluntarily annexed. That the process for involuntary annexation is set forth in section 71.015 of the revised statutes of Missouri. The city, by its board of aldermen, pursuant to section 71.015 revised statutes of Missouri, adopted resolution 839 on the 6th day of October 2020, announcing its intention as an alternative to the above said litigation to involuntarily annex the above said property, and setting the 17th day of November 2020 at 7 p.m. As a hearing. Thereafter, the city adopted resolution 854 on the 17th day of November 2020 to amend the date of the hearing to January 5th, which is this evening at 2021 at 7 p.m. for a public hearing to be held at City Hall before the Board of Aldermen concerning whether the city has met its burden under section 71015 RSMO to involuntarily annex the above property and whether to pass an ordinance proceeding with annexation. The city has made a good faith effort to notify all fee owners of record of the land proposed to be annexed by certified mail between 30 and 60 days before the 5th day of January 2021 at 7 p.m. The city has published in a newspaper of general circulation qualified to publish legal matters in Clay County at least 3 weeks before the hearing notice of the hearing regarding the proposed involuntary annexation of the above said property. The publications occurred on December 10th, 17th, and 24th of 2020. The boundaries of each of the above said properties comply with the statutory requirements of section 71.015 of the revised statutes of Missouri regarding involuntary annexation. The city is either currently providing services to each of the properties or has a plan of intent to provide or make sure said services are provided to each of the properties proposed for annexation within 3 years of annexation. The city either currently provides or has available sewer service, police protection, parks services, and refuse collection, and street repair and maintenance. Fire protection is provided by the Smithville Area Fire Protection District, and water is provided by Public Water Supply District number 9 of Clay County. The city believes that annexation of each of the above said properties is reasonable and necessary to the proper development of the city. The effective date of the annexation for each of the properties would be on the earlier of the date when the properties are approved for voluntary annexation pursuant to 71.012 RSMO, or 30 days after the latter of the declaratory judgment or the final election required by section 71.015 RSMO. Upon annexation, each of the said properties will be zoned to R1B, as in boy, single family residential, pursuant to the ordinances of the city of Smithville. Upon annexation, each of the properties will be subject to city sales tax in the amount of 8.475%, 2.5% of which is the city's taxes, and city use tax in the amount of 7.85%, 2.5% of which is the city's, and city real property tax in the amount of 44.84 cents per $100 valuation, and personal property tax in the amount of 44.84 cents per $100 valuation. To clarify, that's 44.84 cents. Pursuant to the ordinances of the city of Smithville, and sewer fees on these properties will be reduced to those rates charged to other residents in the city limits. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Jack. Next is the list that I have here from the clerk. Russ Willems, please state your name and address for the record, and please adhere to the 3-minute time limit.
Yeah. Hello, this is Russ Willems. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This is Russ Willems. My wife and I are the original purchaser and current occupant of the property at 2224 Northeast 158th Street. And I guess the primary point I would like to make to the council is that we would actually be willing to sign off on a voluntary annexation. However, we would ask for a 1-year lead time before that effective date. I know I did mention that to the city manager, but I wanted to make sure that was heard by the entire council. And that's basically the point I wanted to raise on this proposed annexation.
Thank you. Next is Kevin O'Brien. Is Kevin on?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go for it.
I'm Kevin O'Brien. My wife Regina and I live at 2402 Northeast 158th Street. We purchased our house in 2006. Shortly after we purchased it, we were approached by the city of Smithville asking us if we would like to voluntarily annex. We decided not to, and we were told that we didn't have to, but whoever purchased the house from us would be forced to annex in. I don't really have anything to add. I have consulted a lawyer, and he told me that if I brought the case to court, I would probably win, but it would cost me my life savings. So that's pretty much all I've got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Pam Faulkner. I know Jack mentioned you had applied earlier today, I believe. Pam, you're muted, I think.
There we go.
Yep,
All
now we
right.
can hear you.
Okay, my house, I didn't address the issue because my house is for sale. And there was a contract on it and we were to close, and 1 week prior to closure, the people backed out. So that's why I hadn't addressed this, but I called the city yesterday to find out what advantage would it be to be in there. I was like the O'Briens. We've been here since '03, and we were told that we would always be in the county unless we sold, and then that person would be in the city. So that was my whole thing, that, of course, I feel like the city didn't inform us when they did what they did with our subdivision anyway, where the large properties, people have bought those. It was supposed to be developed in the original plan, like at the end of my street. I don't know the name of the people over there, but they have the FedEx trucks and have built a big house and all over there. But the areas that you also let people buy, that we weren't informed on that. And so I don't know what the procedure is on that, but I would think that the homeowners should have been informed about that when the plat was changed.
Okay, thank you. Linda, is that all the three I have? That's it? Okay. There being no further testimony, I close the public hearing for the involuntary annexation of Lakeside Crossing lots 4, 8, 12, 24, 34, and 36. I appreciate all of you that dialed in for the public hearing portion. Next item on the agenda is number 4, the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Wilson.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Yulidol, thank you. Any discussion on the consent agenda? All right, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no.
Abstain.
Thank you, Alderman Blumker. Alderman Blumker abstains. He was not at the meeting. Committee reports. We don't have any, correct? Parks, Alderman Wilson. Or sorry, Chevalier.
Well, we just had that, the meeting, with the folks that are going to be doing the Parks Master Plan. So this basically just kind of laid out how that was going to shake out, and looks like it's going to be very similar to how some of our rest of the city has looked.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so far it looks like a good process. I think Alderman Wilson, you did attend the meeting, and
Yes.
I encourage you all to attend. Next item is the city administrator's report. Ms. Wagner, do you have anything to report?
A few updates to the information that's included in the packet. Wanted to let you know that, as noted in the packet, we were prepared to respond to the winter events last week. And Chuck and Alan have provided some information on those events that they responded to last week. Tuesday was basically a rain event that turns to ice and slush. City crews did spend about 9.5 hours and dispersed approximately 25 tons of salt. The Friday event was more extensive, and all of our crews were called in. We also called in the contract crew, Lotus contractors, to begin work by staff, and the contractors began around 1 a.m. to pre-treat hills and stops. The rain and sleet started around 3 a.m. and ended around 2 p.m. with all snow. City crews remained working until about 7:45 on Friday night, and at that point in time had most roads cleared. Lotus worked till after 9 p.m. and they were responsible for the Hills of Shannon, as well as Harbor View. And Chuck, this email does say Ashmont and Basswoods, as well as Emerald Ridge, which I didn't recall being included in the list, but they did address those areas. We did receive some complaints with regard to the areas where the contractors remove the snow, and we are working through those. I think some of this really becomes communication issue, and both ensuring that the public knows what to expect of both city crews as well as the contract crews, and what contract crews will look like, and those sort of things. Staff has scheduled a debrief with both staff and the contract crew for later this week, and we hope that we can work through that. One of the things we did find, and I think in conversations with a number of the members of the board, I think we saw an improvement in the areas that were cleared by city crews, because they were able to focus their time on some of those other areas, while the contracted crews took some of that pressure off. All in all, there's some kinks to work out, but I think a good first start there. I know there's some things to address there.
Yeah, I appreciate.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I would say I appreciate that you guys also removed the piles of snow downtown yesterday that melted off a little quicker for the businesses that were open today. It seemed that parking was all available. So thank you for that.
I will also indicate, and I just lost, hold on one second. We used a total of about 80 tons of salt and 10 tons of a salt sand mix. We do have another 100 tons of salt on order to replenish the stores. So there is a memo in your packet with regard to grant applications for Mid-America Regional Council grant funding. I've not heard from any of you with questions or concerns about the timing outline there. I'll assume then to proceed as outlined there, unless otherwise noted this evening. This after, well, actually, most of today, the management team, Alderwoman Wilson, Alderman Sarver, Mayor Boley, and Kelly Kabowski participated in a process to interview 4 candidates for the Assistant City Administrator position. I think we had a good pool and have a couple candidates that we're looking to continue through the process. As outlined in the packet, we really are hopeful to be able to have someone on board mid-February. And one final item that Chuck shared based on some conversation today that is not included in your packet. Some of you have noticed as you drive up 169, electric poles going up. The landscape has changed significantly. Chuck did confirm with Evergy that the line on 69 highway will be a loop for the electric power service. It will tie into to existing power around 180th Street, north of W, I believe. This loop system should reduce the frequency of power outages. So wanted to make sure that you all were aware of that. I think that maybe there have been some rumors of another substation, but they're working on a loop system there. And with that, that's all I have, unless there are questions for staff.
Any questions? Alderman
Hopefully
Chevalier?
Don's-
Yeah. Hey, Cynthia. So about the that memo from Mark. So I know that they want to push or have some of that in the 2023, 2024 timeframe. Is there any reason why they wouldn't try to push those ahead if we ask them to, or is that just basically if we have to make the choice now?
I'll defer to Chuck because he's been involved in more of those conversations.
So Mark schedules these grants out 2 years basically. They've already awarded the federal funding for 21 and 22 before I got here. Now, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, because I put my picture up because my internet's gotten bad. So anyway, so the federal funds won't be available for this round until October of 22. And so that's why these projects are out there like that. It's a long process. We've been working on this since April, and they're just now getting around to awarding these funds. So if a project doesn't go through, I'll let them know that we can be ready. But we also have some right of way we'll have to get for the sidewalk on Commercial Street. I think the streetscape project, we pretty much have all the right of way, but we'll still have to meet the FHWA guidelines for design, and the MoDOT's going to have to review it. It's a year process just to get through the design phase. We'll start on that as soon as we get written confirmation from Mark. But if they have funds available earlier, we can sure see if we can get on the schedule. Sometimes projects don't move forward as quickly as they think.
I didn't look before tonight's meeting, and I should have, on that north phase of streetscape. When do we have that scheduled, or is it going to be dependent on these funds from Mark?
You're talking the phase 2 from, what is it, Commercial to?
No, the Mark funding,
Bridge
phase
Street.
Phase 3, Chuck. So the memo is
Phase 3?
yeah. So the memo is pretty much, so we have 2 projects, Commercial Street and then phase 3, and one's
Right.
1 year, one's the next year. So it's really, do we want to flip flop those, or are we good with the way they're set right now?
I would say as long as phase 3 is first, I think it would be wise to go ahead and finish up streetscape first. If that's, because if commercial sidewalks was first, I would want to see that flipped and streetscape finished.
I agree with that.
Okay, and that's what, that's kind of what the ask was. Revenue wise, Cynthia, that's doable, or Chuck?
Yes, we believe that will work.
So what you guys are recommending is we do the streetscape in starting October, that'd be October of 22 is when we get the funding, right, Chuck? So that'd be in our FY 23 budget, November 1.
Correct.
That's
So
correct,
November-
yes.
November 1 of 22 is when that budget year would start for the 23 budget, and that would be streetscape phase 3.
Mhm.
And then commercial sidewalks would be the.
Correct.
Mhm.
Is everybody good with that?
Yes.
Okay,
Great. Thank you all.
thanks.
So and then the one that just went out to bid yesterday, which is commercial to east towards Heritage Park.
Liberty.
Yeah, that's phase 2. That went out to bid yesterday, closing at the end of the month, right?
Correct. And we'll have the bid award 1st of February with the beginning construction probably mid-March.
Okay. Any other questions for Cynthia or staff? Hearing none, we'll move on to number 7 on the agenda. Alderman Chevalier.
Thank you. I move to approve bill number 2882-20, the initial zoning for 18523 County Line Road, second read.
Thank you.
Second.
Second by Alderman Wilson. Any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Alderman Sarver,
Aye.
Alderwoman Wilson,
Aye.
Alderman Yulidol,
Aye.
Alderman Chevalier,
Aye.
Alderman Atkins. You're muted.
Aye.
Alderman Blumker,
Aye.
6-0.
Motion carries. Ms. Wagner, please read the bill.
An ordinance changing the zoning classifications or districts of certain lands located in the city of Smithville, Missouri.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is number 8. Alderman Chevalier.
Thank you. Move to approve bill number 2883-21, the involuntary annexation Lakeside Crossing for the first read.
Thank you.
Second.
Second by Alderman Wilson. You all heard the public comment tonight on that, the hearing, and Jack's staff report. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. Hey, Russ, you mentioned that you would have liked to see a 1-year notice. What would the purpose of that be?
He's muted.
Russ, are you still there?
Russ?
I can answer that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you, Russ.
Okay, sorry. My Zoom app crashed on my PC, so I'm on my phone now. But yeah, the reason for that is actually we're started construction on a new home. So in fact, I didn't want to get into it on my statement, but really, I would even say the sooner of when this current house changes hands or January 1st. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, thank you. Clerk, please call roll.
Alderman Blumker,
Aye.
Alderman Sarver,
Aye.
Alderman Chevalier,
Aye.
Alderwoman Wilson,
Aye.
Alderman Atkins,
Aye.
Alderman Yulidol,
Aye.
6-0.
Motion carries. Ms. Wagner, please read the bill.
Ordinance authorizing annexation of certain lands pursuant to section 71.015 RSMO.
Next item on the agenda is number 9. Alderman Chevalier.
Thank you. Move to approve resolution 865, the final plat Landmark Farms.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Yulidol. Any discussion on number 9? All those in favor of approving resolution 865, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is number 10, resolution 866. Alderman Chevalier.
Thank you. Move to approve Resolution 866, the December CARES expenditures.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Newland, seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving Resolution 866, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is Resolution 867. Alderman Chevalier.
Thank you. Move to approve Resolution 867, the Smiths Fork Camp Host Agreement.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Oh, I think Marv beat you that time, Dan. Marv's got the second. Any discussion?
I was pleased to see the positive comments.
Definitely.
Yeah, Matt, please pass on, because I don't think they're on tonight. They've been on in the past. Please pass on to Dennis and Katrina. They have done a stellar job since they have taken over the camp host out there. I've not had a single phone call, email, complaint, and the campground looks fantastic.
Will do. I'll pass that along.
Thank you. All those in favor of approving Resolution 867, say aye.
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 All opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item is number 12. Alderman Chevalier.
Thank you. Move to approve Resolution 868, the acknowledgement of the purchase of an auto sampler.
Thank you.
Second.
Alderman Newland, seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving Resolution 868, say aye.
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 All opposed, say no. Motion carries. Any other additional public comment? No? Thank you. Any new business? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Dan. Alderman Yulidol, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Chevalier. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
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 All opposed, say no. Stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.